Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson. You guys, this is a very special treat of an episode. I am bringing on my husband, Mark Henson, if you guys have not met him, and we are going to be sharing our journey getting started on Turo. Turo is a car sharing platform. It's kind of like an Airbnb, but for cars, right? Like it's peer-to-peer car sharing. Very cool if you haven't looked it up. It's Turo, Turo. And we just decided that we wanted to share about it. We have been successful. We're really happy with the results that we're seeing. We are going to be buying our second car soon. And we just thought this was a really cool opportunity to do something together and to share it with you guys. So I'm just really excited and I hope that you are too. And let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I have a very special guest today that most of you know about, but don't actually know. This is my husband, Mark. We are very excited to share a little bit about our journey with Turo, but also hopefully continue some conversations about money and finances and some of the goals that we're setting as a family, how Mark has helped me in my business, which is still kind of a work in progress, but I like to call him my CFO because it sounds good. But I've told everyone a little bit about you. So introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay. Hello, my name's Mark. First and foremost. Little bit about me. I am the complete opposite of my wife. I like to golf. I like to cut grass. I like to drink beer. And I really enjoy my family for the most part. And I'm a project manager. So that's about me in a nutshell.
So in the entrepreneur space, a project manager is typically somebody that keeps projects moving in ClickUp or Asana, that kind of controls all the moving parts. But you do that like in real life. So is that different?
Yeah.
You're on the phone a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you guys interface a lot through, different programs. The ones that you named are a little bit more agile. So it's easier to, I guess, because you guys do a lot remotely. It's the same type of role though. Like, a project manager at the end of the day is going to help you stay in line with your tasks, make sure everyone's meeting the requirements of what they're supposed to do. They can help keep your checkbooks in line, which is, what's nice about me.
A checkbook, like money checkbook?
Yeah, okay. I can budget appropriately and understand the financial piece. But all in all, project management at the end of the day is like herding cats. I walk out my office door every day when I go to work and I do pulse checks on people, but I'm sure if you use they do it, via email or Skype or Zoom or something like that thereof.
So should we tell everyone how we met or should we save that for a different episode?
Yeah, that's up to you. I could keep that pretty brief too.
Okay, in 2 minutes or less, tell everyone how we met.
Well, we were both teaching at the same high school. And I had noticed you from a long, previously before you had stepped foot into my classroom. You had not possibly taken a liking to me before then. But yeah, long story short, we ended up crossing paths in our classroom. I think your story is a little bit different from mine of when you were infatuated with me versus me being infatuated with you. Long story short, we went out on some dates throughout that summer, and Liz's intention was to never keep me around. And fast forward through time, now her intention is to always keep me around. way too much.
Well, when we met, I mean, we're still 4 years apart, but when we met, we were 4 years apart, and it was a little bit different then because he was like 23, he was a baby. So I was like, don't you need to like sow your wild oats or something? Didn't take him very seriously, but somehow he stuck around. So anyway, okay, we'll talk about Turo because I know that's what we're really here to talk about. Um, Mark, tell us how we got started, like how it all began. All I really remember is I watched a few TikTok videos and shared it with a couple people, including you. I was like, hey, this looks cool.
Yeah. So for me, I guess, I don't know if Liz has told you this or not, but she says I operate with a scarcity mindset. So I'm always worrying about where the next dollar is going to come from. Um, and so I listen a lot about stuff on the stock market and watch the news, a lot of stuff on the finance. And I saw, some news about the auto industry and the car market and where it could potentially end up, if we possibly go into recession. So I thought about, using some of our capital that we have to buy some cars and flip them. And by flip them, I mean, clean them up as best as possible, update the radio and resell the entire vehicle. That was kind of what I told her I wanted to do with some of our capital. But I guess she knew about Turo in the background in that same day or maybe a day later.
I forgot you had even mentioned that.
Yeah, you had sent.
You did though.
Yeah, she sent the video to me, and I was like, well, this seems a little bit more doable and less labor intensive. Uh, and I started doing some research on it and some market research on it, and I thought this can't be as easy as it sounds, but turns out it was, and we were in a great position to pursue it because our car had just been paid off. So any profit that we made from renting our car on that platform, and you should probably tell everyone what Turo is in case they don't know what it is. It's a peer-to-peer, it's a peer-to-peer rental platform for your vehicle. But the biggest thing for me is, through the course of our marriage, as I've gone into more of a corporate role and Liz has become more of an entrepreneur, our commonalities probably aren't as alike as they used to be when we were both teaching and teachers. So one thing that she knows is that I've always kind of wanted to pursue something that we could do together to establish some better common ground between us again and kind of have an opportunity to reconnect. So I was really excited, to bring my ability to manage projects and, run operations behind it while she could market, help market and set up, our profile and manage the customer service aspect kind of things in the background there. So what a great opportunity for us to kind of pursue that. That's the most exciting part about it for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of people that try Turo are not successful. I know that only because I'm in a couple different Turo Facebook groups, of course. And like Mark mentioned, Turo is car sharing. It's essentially the Airbnb of like car rentals, right? So you can go online, you're traveling, you can choose a car that you want to rent, and you're renting it from an actual person, not like a rental company. So it tends to be cheaper. It tends to be a little bit more of a white glove experience because you can have the car delivered to you or delivered to a certain place. But inside these Facebook groups, I just see how many people are wildly unsuccessful. And while we're only 2 months in, I would say we've been very successful, but we're also very cautious of like, is this how it's really going to be? We're really looking at the data to see what this is going to look like in 6 months. But since we started, the car has like barely been in our driveway. So it's done very, very well. And I think a lot of that is because Mark is a little bit more risk averse. Is that the right way to say it? Risk averse?
Yeah, I don't like taking risk is what that means.
Yeah. So we talked about Turo, and I would have just jumped in willy-nilly and probably been one of those people trying to figure it out as I went. But Mark did a lot of research. We watched a lot of hours of YouTube and even listened to some podcasts on the road. And I would say that is a huge reason why we have done as well as we have. What would you say about maybe how many months do you think it was? 3, 6?
Yeah, I mean, it took us probably a month just in itself to get the vehicle ready. Yeah, I don't think it was 6 months. It seems kind of long.
I know, but I feel like we were watching YouTube videos for a long
Yeah, I
time.
mean, we were definitely looking at it before we left at the end of August to go on our family vacation, and we had a goal with getting the car kind of positioned for rental, early October, and that's kind of the date that we hit. So it was probably somewhere 3.5 months, maybe
Yeah, we knew
roughly.
we wanted to start right when the kids went to school because once the kids started school, we wouldn't need the second vehicle as much. So we set that as a goal. And I guess we kind of worked backwards and just did as much research as we possibly could. And we really didn't spend that much money that we wouldn't have already put into my vehicle just in regular maintenance, just like the radio. Tell us a little bit about, since you handled that part, tell us a little bit about what we did to prepare the vehicle.
Yeah, so I think the first question you have to ask yourself is, what's the shape of my vehicle in, and is this suitable for people? Is it going to attract a renter? And in the aspect of our Highlander, I mean, it was in really good shape for being a 2012. The radio was out of date, so that was one thing that I wanted to invest some capital in, and that was really the one outlier. Everything else that we did to prep our vehicle would have been done in the normal process of maintaining our vehicle. So we did change the tires. We put brand new tires, but she had bald tires on it. We got the state inspection done. We got normal service checks done, checking the brakes, rotors, things of that nature. So really the big thing at the end of the day was just installing an Apple CarPlay radio for those Android and Apple users, or so what Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's hard to say, but for accessibility of people to be able to populate, their phone onto the dash while driving, really for navigation purposes. We had an old '90s looking radio in there. It felt like so. Um, Other than that, just a lot of time and energy, kind of detail cleaning the car. Which was time well spent. I think as in like the first rental possibly we had paid off the radio, and we got, I'm not an electrician, so we did pay, we went over to Best Buy and had someone install the radio for us. It was probably about $750 all in. And so we
For the
left
radio or for
for the
everything?
radio and the
Okay.
installation of the radio.
Okay.
Now there all the other items we would have paid for out of pocket ourselves, but within that first renter, we covered down on those costs. And so I think that's when I was kind of like, all right, this definitely could be worth it, considering we don't have a car note, and going forward, all of this will be, capital in our pocket.
Yeah. So from a marketing standpoint, one thing I noticed in watching the YouTube videos and listening to some of the Turo influencers, and I'll link some of them below if you're watching the YouTube video or the podcast show notes, but um, people either specialize in luxury cars or kind of like regular economy cars, everyday cars. What's the word for that?
Economy cars.
Okay.
Economy car.
Like people kind of had a niche. And I looked at Mark and I said, okay, we're obviously not going the luxury car market. We want to attract families, so we made sure that we included our car seats as like add-ons. And the cool thing that we noticed was if you search in our area for a car that has car seats, we're like the second vehicle to pop up. So I think that's one thing that also set us apart is, there's already luxury vehicles for rent here in Virginia Beach. There's already everyday kind of like the most affordable options. We wanted to be somewhere in the middle and really attract families that wanted, a Toyota Highlander that we know is reliable and has good gas mileage and can fit all the kids. And we know we'd rather clean up, Cheerios than, spilled beer from a college kid or whatever it might be. And so far, I feel like that's exactly what we've attracted is families or people with kids that are coming into the airport and maybe going to the Outer Banks, or we have one local that's kind of one of our regular renters that's been awesome. But I think knowing exactly, just like in any other business, who your ideal client is really helpful too.
Am I supposed to add on there?
If you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say on top of that. I think you said it all. You can, the great thing about Turo is you have the flexibility as a host to really market your vehicle to who your renter would be. So all the things that Liz said, are correct in that facet. And you can put you can list your vehicle at any time you want. You can remove it at any time you want. You can snooze it so that it's not searchable by anybody. And you can add a ton of features on it, such as a car seat that makes, you kind of a single source renter almost. And it's nice, you get a chance to really put images of your vehicle on your listing, which for us is a huge advantage because Liz is a photographer, so our pictures are some of the best that you'll probably see. But yeah, tons of different listing capabilities, from beach toys and chairs to a cooler to board games to a car seat, all different types of features that you can list to make your vehicle more accessible to a certain renter.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We can do beach chairs in the summer and stuff. Yeah. Also, so speaking of the profile, the pictures I think are a huge thing that set us apart, because again, I don't think the level of success that we've seen is normal. I think we did our research. We put a lot of work in before we actually launched and started. But when I built out the customer profile, I said, okay, if I was the customer, like, what would I want to see? And I, did some market research of other profiles that were performing well. And I made sure to mention that, I work remotely and that Mark has a hybrid schedule, because that means that we're accessible, right? Like if we both worked 9 to 5, it would be really hard for us to have great customer service during those hours, or to be able, to go out and help someone. We haven't had to, knock on wood, but, if someone gets a flat tire in our car, we need to kind of be accessible if something happens that is unexpected. So I think setting up our profile that way helped a lot too. So I guess in closing, we can talk a little bit about like some of our goals and like what's next with Turo.
Our goals probably don't align.
I think they do. Kind of.
So you ready to spend this money already?
No, I'm actually fine just renting my car and having it be like a nice little side revenue. But we've talked a little bit about Q1 next year, getting our LLC so that we can purchase another car. Because I think you said there's some benefits to buying after you already have the LLC.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not, there are some, I'm not at this time privy enough on that information to dispel it all out to everybody online, but yes, there are some benefits. The big thing with an LLC and running it outside of your personal business is if for some reason something happens and there's a liability issue, the renter, if they think you're at fault and want to sue you, can come after everything in your personal wealth. Where if your business is attached to an LLC, they can only come for the assets in your LLC. So that's the big thing for me, is just, again, being risk adverse. I'd rather them come for nothing than everything. If it's just a vehicle or some funds that we have within the business, I'm okay with that. But putting my family funds and house and other vehicles at risk is not something I'm okay with. So I do think, yeah, goal number one come Q1 or January is for us to establish that LLC and look to start expanding our fleet some.
Yeah, maybe get a second car so that we're not always a one car family. But so far we've only had to get one Uber trip, I think, this whole time. We're very lucky that we have a lot of support in the area. But so yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on next steps. And I think we actually scheduled to record again next week. So we'll have to figure out what to talk about. But if you guys have questions about Turo, or if you want us to keep sharing more, we're happy to. We can share a little bit more about how, Mark has helped me with projections and some of the financial pieces of my business that are still a work in progress. And if you think of any business names for our Turo business, we need to figure out a name, what we want to be called.
I mean, I already gave her one, but she doesn't like it.
What was it? I forgot.
Mark and
Liz host BB. That's like a hashtag. Mark and Liz host BB. We need like a business name. All right. Well, you have anything else you want to say?
No. No, I would just say, I think if you have the availability to have a remote or hybrid schedule and you can kind of figure out your day-to-day schedule, and if you can be a one car family or one car individual or not, then I think, if you can run a vacuum and run your car through a car wash, I think it's a great opportunity for most to looking to gain some extra capital in their business or extra income for, whatever. I'd say it is nice going into holiday season this year, knowing that everything that we have made from Turo will cover pretty much all that we need for Christmas shopping. And our kids are not cheap.
Well, and it's semi-passive, right? Like we all know there's really no such thing as completely passive income. Because no matter what, you've got to work on something, but it's semi-passive. So when the car is out and it's being rented, obviously we are just making money and not having to do anything. So being really mindful of how often you want to flip the car, you can control how long people can rent the car. So I was like, I'm not really interested in renting anything shorter than, I think originally we said 3 days and we bumped it to 2 because I don't want him out flipping the car that often. We're very busy. So we sort of set it up to really focus on some of the longer term rentals so that it can be more passive. And like he said, because the car is paid off, we're in a position where we can, play with some of that a little bit and set it up how it works for us and not necessarily like, oh my gosh, we have to, make this much money. But we've done well so far. So I'm really glad that we gave it a try. Yeah. I didn't actually think he would. I was like, this looks cool. People are making money doing this. And I was pretty surprised that he was like, let's do it.
Needed more money for no reason, apparently, but needed more.
All right. Well, thanks, babe, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. That wraps up our very first episode about Turo. I cannot wait to hear from you guys and hear what you thought. Do you want to hear more? Do you want us to continue to podcast about this little husband and wife venture? And you guys, even since we recorded this episode, we got our LLC. We are official. We got our LLC. We decided to call it Sideline Rentals. Not really for any particular reason. I mean, we both love sports. So it kind of made sense. We really just wanted something we could grow into. So, no matter where this journey takes us, I know that in my own business, the lessons that I've learned, and we just wanted something that we could grow into. And while right now it might make sense to just be like, Henson Party of 5 Rentals or something, we want, this to be something that our kids can help with if they want to, or, we just wanted it to be able to have wings when the time is right. And we're not necessarily doing any marketing. I mean, Sideline Rentals is not something that's going to be forward facing. It's just checking the box for some of these business things, but it just felt good. So we're excited. We officially have an LLC. We are officially shopping for our second car. So let us know if you want to continue to hear more about this. And I'm happy to bring Mark back on. It might be happening regardless, but I absolutely want you guys' input. So remember, if this episode was helpful or if you loved it, please share with a friend, leave us a review. It really, really means the world to me and keeps that momentum going to know that this is actually providing value for you guys. That is my number one priority. So we will see you next week to continue talking about all things community building. We have an awesome guest coming next week as well. See you guys later.